It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video.
It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mindy Mcfann.
And this is It's Movie Time.
Sure enough.
And this is Back Talk. I think I said that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. Mindy,
Yes.
we're going far afield here.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we pick something that's coming up in the cinema. We try to be really current. And now we've selected something that's from Poland,
Yes.
of all places. Goodness, Poland.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've seen some very good Polish films. This is straight off the net,
Yep.
Netflix,
Yep.
and it's called Forgotten Love. I said, who is my most romantic critic? who would do justice
That's fair. That's fair.
to? I really like this film, but tell our audience what it's about.
Well, I love European movies for this reason. It's so pretty. The cinematography is just pretty and gentle and lovely, and it's about a doctor, a very, very good surgeon. And he gets in an accident, gets robbed, and he gets a brain injury, and he can't remember anything, and he disappears.
Yep.
And in the process of disappearing, just before this happens, his wife and child, his wife runs off with a child. So he's having a bad time anyway.
This is a bad day for him.
It's just bad.
He is Poland's top surgeon, particularly craniology or whatever you want to
Cutting
call
edge.
it. Cutting
Yes.
edge. And a great actor who has obviously been in other Polish films. It's called Leszek Likota, I think.
Yes.
I'm just going to try to do that way. But a very fine figure of a man. He stands above everybody else. He's got to be 6'3" or 4.
Right.
And just for that choice, he is imposing and memorable. And my goodness, how the gifted are brought down.
Yeah, and this is like turn of the century, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. So we've got lots of horses pulling carts and some very nice little automobiles.
Everything. It's just
It's right.
beautiful. The costumes, everything.
Yeah, that's why I like Martin Scorsese's new film. One of the reasons I love it, his Killers of the Flower Moon, because the production design and all of the accoutrements of the era are I just love watching them.
Yeah.
So this is a tragedy, Mindy. So we have our doctor not remembering a thing.
Nope.
But how do you figure he continues?
That's a very good question. He drifts away and somehow has the fortitude to live with not knowing.
Yes. And strangely, I'm sure it's true, even with his amnesia, he somewhere in his subconscious, he doesn't forget his skill as a surgeon.
Yeah, his muscle memory's there.
Okay,
But he doesn't question why, per se.
Right.
He doesn't try to hunt down his past or anything. He just lives in the moment and accepts the fact that there are quote-unquote odd things he can do because of his past, and just wanders about.
It gave me a little bit of insight that I didn't have about amnesia, that it's not all encompassing. There are parts of, what do you call it, muscle memory, that come forward.
Right.
And especially in this film where he's able to mend people. And I love every scene where he has to jump in.
Yes.
Isn't it great?
And he's so I mean, from the very beginning, one of the most important things about him is how not egotistical he is.
Yeah, oh.
I mean, for a cutting-edge surgeon, he wants to, there's a point where he helps a boy who's crushed by a carriage on the street.
Yep.
And he helps him even though he's not supposed to. He takes him to the good hospital and that kind of thing. So he's He's all heart.
Yeah, and he will contend that even though he has worked on and mended someone, that they need a doctor's attention.
Yes.
So he never will, you're so
He
right.
takes his Hippocratic oath very seriously.
he never tries to be anything other than somebody who has the strange gift to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. One of the additions to this, it was originally a very popular novel in Poland. And there's been 2 other films about it.
Really?
Yeah. And they've added one thing to this that I think was a stroke of good luck to add. And that's his girlfriend.
Oh, yes.
Isn't she good?
She's marvelous.
Yeah.
She's, oh my God, she's so wonderful. She's voluptuous in the absolute best sense of the countryside word.
She is.
You know, she's just so earthy and lovely. He meets her. He basically gets picked up off the side of the street because her wagon wheel falls off.
Yes, yes.
And she ends up giving him a job and taking him home to her grain mill. And she's just lovely.
Zaska.
Yeah.
Very robust peasant, but wow, is she strong-willed.
She's just lovely and soft and warm and, yeah, strong, everything. She's just beautiful.
You gotta love the scene where she kicks the doctor out. She says, "This is not a barn, although you've got chickens walking around."
Yep.
When he comes, the local doctor comes.
Right.
And she said, "You had your chance.
Yes.
Now get out of here."
Yes.
And I said, "I gotta love that." And he truly has an affinity for her.
Mm-hmm.
And in his previous life, he wouldn't have even, well, he might have, but in that case, he would have never met her.
Right.
So it was under this circumstance, and when asked what he wants to do, where he wants to go, he just says, "I want to stay here."
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely?
It's so much about his ability to live in the moment.
Yes, yes.
So much of that. And that moment brings his daughter back to him.
Yes. Well, you know, I have 5 daughters, so I am very sensitive to so many films in the last few years that have fathers searching for their daughters, especially in our superhero films. You'll find, I remember one with Wolverine, looking for a daughter. And I find even science fiction, not always, but it so frequently is about family. And it's very specifically about fathers looking for daughters.
Well, and the thing is, he doesn't remember her. It's like he remembers the feeling of having a daughter.
Yes.
Is my kind of, I mean, and it's nothing that's spoken about, but it's a look in his face sometimes that you can feel like his brain is putting together this yearning for something, but he doesn't know what it is. Because he adored her when she was a little girl.
There's one shot of a little girl picking up flowers.
Yes.
I thought it was very nicely done.
Yes.
And he doesn't say, "Oh my gosh," but there's something about it that catches his attention. And Zaska asks him, asks him when he's looking at the central figure, which is Maricia, I think, his daughter.
Yeah.
And I think, what shall I say? I think there are 2 parts of the film, Mindy. I think there's one of his survival and his trying to come to terms with his amnesia, and then his daughter. It almost seems to me like it splits in half.
Absolutely. Because she has this whole separate life. And I love how crafty she is. All she has left after her mother and stepfather dies is a piano.
Yes.
So that's the only thing she has of value. So she basically tells this innkeeper she's going to give him the piano, but he doesn't play the piano. But she says, "Oh, people will love listening to the piano," but strangely, she plays the piano.
There are more than one antagonists here. Most prominent one would be the mother of the Count, would you say?
Well, yes, although initially you think the Count's going to be one of them.
Yes, very nice.
Because we weren't sure about him at first.
Yes.
And, my first reaction was I want him to get a chair hit in the head.
Yes. The film also has a prominent affection for the battle of the classes.
Yes.
The difference between the two, because right in that town you have a baron,
And his wife and his son.
Right, yeah, and the son is a count. And you see almost very early in the film that there is a difference, particularly when the count and his friend come into the pub. And so you get an idea this is going to carry through, and it does. That whole class consciousness carries through as we begin to blend the two strains that I'm looking at, which is one of this doctor's survival and then the one of his daughter emerging. A little, how shall I say, a little unbelievable.
Yeah.
That he connects with his daughter, or that he happens to be in the same town as his daughter.
Right. Well, then he's hanging out in a little pub and hitting on a waitress, but
yeah.
I mean everything. It's not like a movie like you can't figure out what's going to happen next.
No,
it's not that kind of. It's just tender and sweet.
Yes, and it has that. Even improbable is that the doctor ends up in the town eventually. That his daughter, he gets to see his daughter there.
Right.
These are both fabulous elements. But then we didn't say it was anything more than a romance.
No.
And when you think of Les Miserables and you think of Dr. Zhivago among others, well, there's an awful lot of improbability going on there.
Yep.
But we go into those films hoping for the romance that they have.
I am perfectly willing to suspend my disbelief at the drop of a dime.
All right, Mindy Mcfann. I already hear the phones ringing and people saying, "I'll keep Mindy on because I want to hear more about what she has to say." Yes, we will keep her on, but you're going to have to go to WCBE.org to the podcast experience. In this case, it's going to be Back Talk, and we will talk more about it. But Mindy, what advice do you have for our audience?
Anybody that loves anything romantic and wants to just watch something pleasant that is not going to harass them, go watch it. Just turn on Netflix and watch it.
It's not necessarily for our hard-nosed, logical friends.
Don't need to
Spend a few time with John DeSando and his friends online, so everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom, he's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco